Okay, this is you now. Like that the intro's not playing. That's you.
No, what do you mean it's me?
See, all these technical issues are you. I didn't hear. Did you hear the intro?
What intro? This intro?
I didn't hear the harmonica. You're really screwing up today.
I'm not doing anything. It's on your end, dude. So I just want everybody to know. Welcome to the program. We're going to start with bickering like two old lovers. By the way, I would be the top.
That's because you look like you drive a Subaru.
Dude, you actually drive
and wear
a Subaru.
hiking boots.
You actually wear hiking
I bought it years ago. Before I told everyone I was a lesbian.
Oh, I'm totally a lesbian. Anyway.
You look like you date Ellen.
I look like I am Ellen. I'm okay with it. How many times people call me a lesbian online? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm happy to be called whatever name. Doesn't matter to me. You can call me whatever.
The first time
I'm highly unoffendable. But
I know you don't get offended, but I did laugh for most of the morning.
Sure you did. So before we start these podcasts, Locke and I kind of chime in. We'll log in like 10, 15 minutes early to kind of discuss the order of business of the day, right? So generally speaking, 1 to 2 times a week, there are major technical difficulties, and
that's not true. Once a month.
All originate in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, which is where Lachlan Cross joins us from today. Never from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is where I am broadcasting from. And here's the other thing. You continually tell me what the problem is with little or no technical information whatsoever. So I can't imagine being Deb on a daily basis. I cannot imagine being Deborah Cross today. Like, honey, you're doing that wrong. She must want to turn around sometimes in the kitchen when she's trying to do something, and you chime in with no information whatsoever, full Dunning-Kruger, and go, no, babe, this is what's going on. This is what you have to do with that tomato. She must want to turn around and stick a knife in your chest.
There had been moments. She's quite level-headed, but there have been moments in our relationship over the years where I have seen her look at me with eyes that might suggest that if she had a weapon handy,
she'd plunge it into your chest. I love it. I mean, I love how sure you are of things you know nothing about. Like there is no one more convincing that you're in the know than you. Nobody.
Okay. Listen.
You know what I got? We couldn't get audio on your end. Hang on. Let me explain
right.
this. You couldn't get any audio on your end. You're like, dude, reboot. I'm like, dude, I can hear you fine. No, it's you. Reboot. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's you. And then
I couldn't hear you.
Because it's not coming out of it's not coming into your headphones on your end. That's why you couldn't hear me. That was my point. Then I told you to
reboot. Your mic on mute. Didn't you?
No.
And you just won't admit it. You're just trying to drive me crazy.
Can't you just be happy?
I'm happy that because you were going to cancel. You were like, if we can't figure this out, then we'll just take a knee today. And I'm like, no. I've been looking forward to our conversation all day because we're talking about the McRib.
Yeah, it's big news, dude. Not only are we talking about Elon Musk and brain implants, which started last week. Look the fuck out. Not only are we talking about that, we've got a few other things to get to, not limited to, but including the incredible province of Alberta, which almost ran out of power last week, ran out of water yesterday.
It's just Edmonton.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. But I also want to talk about something that I'm pretty sure you had a hand in, and I don't even want to give you credit for it, to be honest with you. Canada's bringing the McRib back.
No.
I'm pretty sure you did it.
We did it. So just a little background for those of you who just know me from Dean Blundell's show /podcast.
Yeah.
I would suggest that over the last, you know what? We've been a show 8 years. I think we're going to, it's our 7th or 8th anniversary this summer.
The locker room in
As
Edmonton.
long as I can remember, Dean Grant, who's my co-host on the locker room, has been talking about the McRib. Like it has been an underlying theme. And every time it goes in the States, he does these things at 7:30 and 9:30 every morning He calls them the Grant Report. He's a great writer, and they're always really funny. And it's always a little fun twist on, the current events of the day. And every time the States will get this and we don't get it in Canada, he will actually write a Grant Report that's hilarious about it. And he mentions it all the time. And every time we mention it, everyone's like, screw the McRib. We should bring back the pizza. Remember the McDonald's pizzas?
Oh, yeah, dude. They were like underrated, delicious.
I know. I remember the pizzas too. Oh, God. I can't remember how long it's been since the pizzas were a thing.
It's got to be 15, 20 years. Something like that.
I believe it's because it's been 10 years since Canada's had the McRib. So this year we started hearing Grant claims to be a fast food insider. So one of his insiders phoned him, and he was saying that the McRib was coming to Canada.
Can you imagine telling everybody that was your thing, being a fast food insider
on a regular basis?
Does he do it with a straight face?
Fast food, yeah.
Grant, fast food insider.
This is something he believes to his core, that he's a fast food. Anyway, we were all excited because we were like, they're doing it. They're finally going to bring it back. It's been 10 years since we've had the McRib in Canada. And then we get this announcement that it's like 5 cities in Toronto, or 5 restaurants in the Toronto and Ontario area. Remember? Mm-hmm. So we went on a campaign over the last couple of months where we were promoting the McRib in Ontario, because what they were saying is if it was successful back east, they were going to roll it out across the country. So we started phoning mayors. We phoned Olivia in Toronto. We started phoning head office. We phoned head office Canada for McDonald's.
Yeah, it's right off the DVP. Buddies of mine have worked there for like 30 years. Yeah. It's like the Taj Mahal of McDonald's. They got like a personal McDonald's in there where you can just go in and go, I have 12 Big Macs. They're like, no problem. Here you go. So
we got on the phone with obviously someone that's just from the helpline. Mm-hmm. And her name was Red, and we played the call. This was a couple of months back, and we were saying that we wanted the McRib in Canada, like right across the country, specifically in Edmonton. If you could only do Edmonton, just do Edmonton. And she had no idea what the McRib was, and we're like, what? Like, don't they have like a course for people? How do you not know about the McRib? It's like not knowing about
McDonald's. Didn't know about the McRib.
The woman at McDonald's, but she put us on hold.
We were playing coy. That's what she was doing. She's playing coy. She's like. Yeah, she probably got told by her boss, like, if you get any calls about the McRib, just pretend you know nothing.
Okay, but here's the thing. She hung up. And just before she hung up, she said, listen, I've talked to people. I've talked to upper management. They're aware of your call. And I will. And so anyway, when the McRib showed up, we took full credit for it actually happening here in Canada.
But hold it. It wasn't just after they announced they were going to do some trials in Ontario with the McRib. And by the way, congratulations, McDonald's. Whether or not I find the rib tantalizing to look at or not, it is a loose meat sandwich. Lochlin will buy probably all of them in Edmonton. On top of that, it's delicious. It is one of the more delicious sandwiches, one of the more delicious products that kind of came and went, to your point.
Yeah.
And I think you did it. Look at this. This is a news story in Global today. The McRib is coming back. Yeah, it is.
I don't know why we're not getting credit in these articles, to be honest.
I don't know why you're not either. It's time to get saucy, Canada. That's what they said. The McRib is returning to McDonald's. Very well. That's why they taste so good. It's the sauce is like they put meth in it or something. It's so good. After being absent from the fast food chain menu for the past decade, the popular sandwich is back, participating stores around the country starting Tuesday. That was yesterday.
Yeah.
It just snuck it right in there.
I almost went for one yesterday, but I started to feel guilty because we've been planning an outing, actually. The Rock Out with Your McRib out with the locker room. And we're going to the Capilano McDonald's on 50th Street tomorrow at 11:30. And we've invited everybody that listens to come and join us. So we're going to go have the McRib as a gang, as a group. And I almost, today when I was coming home from yoga, I was like, I'm going to stop. And I'm like, no, I have to do it with the guys. We have to celebrate this together.
Hey, let's read this together. In the last year alone, our team received thousands of inquiries on social media from very passionate Canadian McRib fans asking to bring you here. Look, you did this, dude. This is my point.
Yes.
Like you carried on and talked about this for I don't know how long.
It's been years we've been talking about it.
The last 2 months, 3 months, we've talked about the McRib for a long time. You've been encouraging people in Ontario, and I see it on social media, people from Ontario buying it for you, sending you a picture of the receipt saying,
Yeah.
Just had one for you, Locke. Let's make this a thing. I think you might have had an eye in this. The McRib is a true fan favorite, they said. It appeals to guests of all ages, from loyal followers who patiently waited for a decade to return to newer fans who never heard the legend. I don't know if it's a legend, but it's a fucking great sandwich.
It's total. It's
those
totally
who
a legend.
Never had the pleasure. The McRib features a boneless pork patty smothered in barbecue sauce, topped with pickles and slivered onions, served on a toasted home-style bun. Listen, I'll tell you something. I had one in Brampton about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And knew that they were serving it. I was in the area, drove out of my way for 2-3 kilometer little jaunt, and I had a McRib. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was delicious.
We McDid it, everyone.
We McDid it. That was very clever. Congratulations, dude. The McRib is a big deal. It is back. This podcast is always brought to you by our friends at Can Torque, making rugged, hardworking torque wrenches. Visit Colin. He's got a new website. You can subscribe to his podcast there, learn all about his products and services. Truly incredible stuff that these guys do for Canadians, in Canada, for heavy industry, and around the world. Everything is manufactured in Canada. Go to cantorque.com if you're looking for a torque wrench or an industrial torque tool or bolting solution that they don't have. From that, which I think is great news, the McRib is great news. Staying in Edmonton, staying in Calgary, staying in Alberta, staying in your beautiful province.
Is this an issue in Calgary too? I don't think so. I think it's just Edmonton, dude.
Want to thank you for bringing the McRib back, but I also want to know if you need us to send you any water, because apparently there's an emergency in Edmonton today. You guys don't have any water, is that correct? No running water, not allowed to use the water. Can't have a shower. Can you pour a glass of water?
Like the power thing.
Carrot.
What during the cold snap, everyone was like cranking everything, right? And they had the baseboard heaters and all that. So we actually got a warning. It was a Saturday night. It was right around dinner time. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those alerts on your phone. You guys get them in Ontario, I'm sure. I think it's a Canadian thing. So like a lot of times what it is if there's like a kidnapping or something like that, you'll get these messages. So we got that, and it was strange because it was about the power supply. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that's odd. Like that doesn't happen in the winter generally. It's usually a air conditioning thing in the winter. And then the other day, Epcor, in one of their treatment plants that supplies like a ton of water to the Edmonton area, a piece of equipment within the treatment plant went down. Yeah. So what they did is they put out news stories. It wasn't an alert this time. They put out news stories saying, hey, listen, if you can actually hold back a little bit on the water, try to consume water for the next week or so. It's supposed to be fixed by Friday. We would really appreciate it. They've done a thing with like, if you're a laundry mat, you had to shut down this week. I don't know if there's going to be compensation for them, but also if you're a gas station with a car wash, all the car washes have been shut down. So I think we're good, because we were reading a story this morning that was updating the situation, and with the conservation that we've been going through, we've like it was 370 million hectoliters or some crazy thing, and then we're down to 340. So I don't think the general public is doing as much on their end, comparatively speaking to the electrical situation that we had, but some of the steps that they've done have helped out. That's why I don't think it's a whole Alberta thing. I think it's just an Edmonton thing. Now, of course, when these things happen, there's generally a portion of the population that's like, screw you, I'm going to start having baths. And they think it's Justin's fault. And they're, as much as I understand where they're coming from, don't trust the authorities. They're always trying to screw you.
Is that the narrative in Edmonton for some people? My understanding is there was just so you know, this is my understanding. And sure, is it fun to mock the province that's trying to tell everybody to shove it? They got everything they need and it keeps almost breaking. Yeah, of course it's fun. For sure it's fun. especially when you've got your dipshit government in power, right? So it's fun to drag them. But my understanding is EPCOR, which manages water supply, sewage treatment plant, they had a 4,000 horsepower pump that went down. It was a 48-year-old pump. And they're like, man, we can't pump water. This is no good. You need to conserve water. We only have a certain amount in our reservoir. Everybody's like, okay, that's supposed to last until Sunday. But I've been fascinated by the effort people have gone to, because Alberta's a tricky province, right? Back when the wildfires were happening this summer, they're like, Trudeau is sending people in white hard hats to set fires out here. Remember that? It was like, no, that can't be it. And then, you get the $10 daycare thing. They're doing rolling blackouts because they're like, $10 daycare from Trudeau. We don't want it. If it's from Trudeau, we don't want it. And I'm like, well, that's fascinating. Okay, yeah, we know you hate Trudeau. And
There's something else about the daycare thing that they don't like, though.
Who cares?
I don't think we're digging into that one.
No, I'm not doing it. It's just
I don't want to.
Any way they can take anything bad that happens in your province, that province and its people will put that on the Trudeau side of the ledger and go, okay, now fire that fucking bomb. Fire it at him. Give it to him. Tell everybody it's because Justin Trudeau is sabotaging the water supply to make the government here look bad, so we vote against Danielle Smith. That is literally one of the number one narratives around Edmonton not having enough water because a pump broke.
But people also believe that Taylor Swift is a
witchcraft Satanist.
Yes, she's here. She's a arm of Satan, and she's going to make an announcement after her boyfriend wins the Super Bowl on the 11th. That she's supporting Biden,
and Satan. Don't forget.
We actually had somebody defending that position when we talked about it on the podcast. So it is frustrating because I think you have to be skeptical, especially today. I don't think the older I get, the more I realize there's just nobody out there on our side, right? So I think it's a healthy thing to do, to question things. I just think we've gone too far, and I think some people do go down the rabbit hole a little too much. I have to catch myself too, right? Like when I'm looking at a story and it involves Justin Trudeau, I'll give you a perfect example. The ethics commissioner just said the other day that his vacation during Christmas didn't violate any of the rules. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he's in a press conference and I can't stand the man. And when he speaks, he's so condescending and he's virtue signals and it's just gross. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. You don't like nice people. You don't like empathy. You don't like kindness. I get it.
I don't trust him.
I don't trust.
And I don't trust happy people either. We can add that to the list. If you're too happy, I'm sorry. There's something wrong.
And people with mustaches and two first names, you can add those fuckers to the list too.
Yeah.
You got a mustache, just a mustache. I don't trust you. And if your name is like Jody Shelley or Tom Williams, forget it. I don't trust you either.
Gingers,
rule of habit. Gingers, don't trust them.
And if you like blue cheese, okay,
dude, I love blue cheese. You can still trust me.
You're on my list.
All right.
Okay. All right. So
vacation.
He's being questioned at a press conference yesterday, and he's just like many Canadians, I went to a friend's place for the holidays, and just kept repeating that. And I'm just like, I was so angered by the sound of his voice and how that was coming out of his mouth. And here's the thing. I start siding with the people that don't think he should have a vacation. Which is just asinine.
Just and I'm
sitting there yelling at the TV going, yeah, you should stay home and work, you dick. And then I'm realizing at the end of it that
I turned into a convite. Yeah.
That I'm mad that our Prime Minister
went on vacation.
That he went on a vacation.
It's fucking unbelievable, this vacation thing, too, right?
Because it's crazy.
Dude takes a vacation at Christmas. He's the prime minister. Obviously, people want to kill him, so you got to take a bunch of security, right? You got to take people because you still got to run a fucking country when you're on vacation. It's not like you get away, but it's not like you don't get fucking 48 phone calls and briefings every single day. So he's going to have an attaché with him. He's going to have.
I think there might be some stress in his life, too.
A little bit of stress, yeah. And
his
listen,
wife left him.
His wife just basically told him to beat it. He's like,
Someone just told him that the Emergencies Act isn't real. Like,
imagine this.
Used.
Imagine this. You get divorced, right? And you got to go, fuck, I got to go on vacation with the ex. Okay. And then not only do you have to go on vacation with the ex, you get dragged for it for fucking a month after your vacation because it didn't cost you anything and it was $100,000. And then on top,
I gotta look something up.
Just miserable going on vacation with Sophie, right? Because he probably can't stand her fucking guts. And then
I bet you they put her in a separate plane.
He's got to listen. Well, he did. They had to take 2 planes because he's like, listen, I'll go on vacation with you, Sophie. You got to take.
That's a safety thing. But now we're blaming him for having to put his ex-wife in a second plane.
Well, dude, and here's the other great part. So people complain all the time about Justin Trudeau, and no love lost for Trudeau. I don't care. I find this funny, pedestrian, and weird. The fact that we're having this discussion about a guy going on vacation being some kind of a personal affront to us while he's running a fucking country. But whatever. But here's the great part: is that it didn't cost taxpayers a dime. It was a $94,000 vacation. A buddy of his owns a resort in Jamaica.
It's a bribe.
And then so Canada Proud, who's suing us for defamation for suggesting that they do what I'm going to tell you they did. They basically launched a tweet after, like, you took a bribe. That's what they said. Called him and said he took a bribe and called him an asshole because he didn't charge taxpayers $100,000 for a vacation. He can go on vacation just like Pierre Poilievre. Like, dude, it's amazing. They had this fucking hearing in the House of Commons the other day. Justin Trudeau showed up to it and they're like, okay, ethics commissioner, did you clear it? Yes, I did. No conflict of interest. Wasn't a gift. It's a friend of his. His family went down there. The Secret Service had to be paid for or whatever. CSIS, the people that were with him, is a security detail, a couple other people, but didn't cost us anything. And we've cleared it. We've got all the papers. The Conservative Party still dragged him in front of the ethics committee to fucking talk about it. But here's the crazy part. This is the crazy part. Apart from it not costing us a dime, Pierre Poilievre, who engineered that whole fucking thing, took off for 3 weeks on vacation, still won't say where he went, but when he came back, he had a brand new face.
Is that true? I keep hearing this.
100%. It's a little tighter. You can see the Botox. You can see a little Juvederm. His chin's a little more like, dude, I don't know where he went, but he wasn't seen for 3
weeks. A little slap and tickle in Brazil. By the way, I don't blame him. I want to get a sack jack. Okay, here's the best part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
So they had an issue with the ethics commissioner the last time we went through this because it's like a ski buddy of his dad's or something. So they said, clearly
Johnson.
There's a bias here. So maybe you should step aside if we have to do any. So now the new ethics commissioner sounds like somebody that was made up. That's not a real person. It might be just Justin Trudeau with a little fake mustache.
No, you know who the real ethics commissioner is. Conrad von Finkelstein.
That sounds like a fake person.
Do you know where you know that name from? He was the head of the CRTC for fucking decades.
I know.
And he's a Harper guy. He's a conservative guy. And he cleared this. He's like, it's all good. No big deal. You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing.
I know.
Nothing. Meanwhile, PP.'s gone for 3 weeks. He comes back and his face is pulled tighter than a drum. He looked like fucking Joyce DeWitt. He's doing one of these. You can't fucking, like, he's emotionless now. He looks like a sex doll.
He's really worried about his appearance, eh? Oh, you get that sense?
Dude, that guy, Pierre Poilievre, let me tell you a little secret about Pierre Poilievre, who, Alex Jones loves, all these other guys love. Joe Rogan calls him Pierre Poilievre, whatever his name is, doesn't even know his name. He loves him. Let me tell you a story about him. Not only is he incredibly vain, I know people who know him. And someone told me the other day, and it was zero surprise. They said he's the guy who listens to a conversation half-assed, hears his name, doesn't know what was said, and starts yelling at people because he just automatically assumes you're being mean to him. Like he's one of those guys.
He's insecure too?
Totally. Just insecure.
I can see that.
Like this gentleman has seen him get in several conflicts. He's the first guy to run away from conflict. He doesn't do anything with anybody. All he does is, sits and stews and talks about how cool he is, yells at staffers, calls them fucking names because they don't. Oh, yeah. Apparently, he's just a fucking nightmare of an individual. He's exactly what you'd think he is by his press scrums or lack thereof.
You know what?
That's the guy he is.
I I don't like doing this, but I do this, and I think a lot of us do this. I judge people based on outward appearance, and again, it's something I've worked on now for a long time. My 3-part plan to save the world: figure out who you are, get comfortable with that person, and then stop judging. The judgment piece is a very difficult one. But you know what? It's always a little, I don't know. I feel just a little bit better about myself when you tell me a story that reinforces the opinion I have of somebody I've never met. I don't know what that says about me. I'm working on the judgment piece. But when you just told me that, I was like, oh, good. Because I thought he was that guy.
Thank God, because I really wanted to hate him. Thank God you just reinforced my hatred of what I wanted to hate about that guy. My
issue with him is that he's kind of embarrassed.
He's a puke. I'm embarrassed. He's such a little ferret. He's like that kid that everybody hated in school for fucking good reasons, right? Who showed up in the back of his mom's Lincoln Town car, got out with a perfectly folded lunch kit, and just treated everybody like shit all day because he might have been a little bit smarter, or his biological dad stuffed an extra 20 in his pocket before he went to school that day when he was reintroducing himself at the age of 7. He's just a shit. He's a shitty individual. And anyone that I've ever met that has met this man says the same thing about him. Wow. He is valueless. He is personalityless.
That's too bad.
He is here for one reason and one reason only, is that is himself. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. Not one person. That's
my issue is that we have a guy that when he goes around the world and he's representing Canada, I'm a touch embarrassed. And every time he gets on a plane, I'm like, God, somebody check his bag. Make sure he doesn't have a costume in there. Like, right? So I'm a little embarrassed. I don't think we have our best foot forward, Justin Trudeau. Sure, he's good looking, but that wore off quickly when they realized.
Very good looking.
Yeah, that wore off very quickly.
Yeah.
And now I think people just are embarrassed for us when he flies around and represents Canada. I don't
Not
think
so much anymore. I
don't think we're improving on that with PP.
No,
if he wins,
Trudeau's
he's a
less
dweeb.
Embarrassing than he's ever been.
Yeah,
like he's keeping it between the lines. He's not running off to India dancing in a sari. You know, he's not playing dress up.
Did you see him? Did you see him celebrating that goal at the game the other day, though?
PWHL game? Yeah, dude, he's celebrating a goal. He's promoting women's hockey in Ottawa, dude. Okay, are you really gonna do this just because of how he celebrated? You're gonna mock the guy.
Did you see it?
I did.
It was just it was a little aggressive. That's all.
He's really excited.
Looked like a Labrador. It was ridiculous.
Actually, he looked like a seal, like one of those trained seals at Marine Land. Really excited too. Really, really excited. Anyway, I don't want to talk about politics today. I want to talk about Elon Musk. By the way, this is brought to you by our friends at Gitch, makers of fine underwear. Gitch engineered for any level of performance. If you're looking for the greatest underwear on the planet, boxer briefs with a pouch in the front, made in Canada for Canadians, edsfineimports.com. Again, edsfineimports.com. Use promo code GITCH3. Get yourself a pair of these luxury branded underwear, friends. You will absolutely love them. GITCH3, that's your promo code. Order at edsfineimports.com. 15% off when you give them your email address at checkout. I want to talk about Elon Musk because he did something this week, and it's nothing to do with Twitter. I'm off that train. I don't even like talking about what he does with Twitter because he's such a fucking disaster. Doesn't matter. He's finally implanted one of his Neuralink chips into a brain of a human being. Have you heard this story?
I have. The first one was this Sunday.
Yeah.
We don't know much about him. I'd like to know why. Like he did it, but maybe there's a reason because I mean there's numerous things that these Neuralinks they're put into the brain.
Yeah,
apparently from what I was reading around the area that controls movement. So
correct.
Maybe the individual that got the Neuralink is paralyzed or something. I don't know. I wish I knew more about it because I got to be honest. I think we're a little early here, Elon.
I am so happy to hear you say that. Because last year they had to put an end to the monkey trials because they killed 1,500 of them. 1,600 of them.
1,600. I don't think it was just monkeys. I think it was other animals as well.
Pigs, couple cows, and stuff like that.
Awful.
I just want to go through it. This is from Wired. They put out an article. And before we get to the actual dude that's got the implant in his head and what it was for, UC Davis veterinary records cited by Physicians Committee, which Wired obtained through a subsequent California public records request, chronicled a battery of complications that developed following procedures involving electrodes being surgically implanted into monkeys' brains.
Yeah.
The complications included bloody diarrhea, partial paralysis, cerebral edema, a condition colloquially known as brain swelling, and of course, death. In an experimental surgery that took place December 2019. What was that? 3.5 short years ago, almost 4 years ago. Performed to determine the survivability of an implant. An internal part of the device, quote, broke off while being implanted. Yeah.
Lots of issues, and a lot of people were upset with him with the animal testing, and I rightfully so. I mean, I realize that for the sake of science, a lot of this stuff is done, and it's not just Elon Musk, and we've probably benefited, like, as a race, as a human race, from
we don't know that
from animal trials, monkey trials.
Oh, in medicine and stuff, but it's fucking brutally barbaric. And what do you do?
It's hard.
More of the veterinary reports, too. Condition of a female monkey called Animal 15 led to her death days after implant surgery. She began to press her head against the floor for no apparent reason. Then she died. Jesus. Animal 15 lost coordination, bleeding in the brain, focally tattered. Then they died. Yet another monkey, Animal 22, euthanized in March 2020 after his cranial implant became loose. He died. The latest monkey death, which put an end to the trials, is in 2022. That was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Are you, no matter how, knowing his track record, knowing the monkey trials didn't go well, right? And let's just say you're an amputee, because that's who Elon Musk said he's going to target first. Amputees, people with brutal injuries that can't move,
paralysis,
people who are like quadriplegic, super paralyzed from like the neck down, guys like Stephen Hawking that got to operate a wheelchair with like a straw like that. And he put this, apparently, that's another whole issue because I don't even believe it fucking happened. But what he says is they reimburse this gentleman. He's the first person to be subjected to the trial, and he's recovering. Doesn't say if he's recovering fine, just says, quote, he's recovering. So whatever he's recovering from and whatever he has in his head, he is the first person to get this implanted in his head. And no one knows if it's successful yet because the monkey trials were a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
This guy must be in terrible shape to be willing to do this. Like death must be the next step for him. He's like, whatever, this is a Hail Mary. I got nothing to live for.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you this, no matter how infirmed I am not lining up for a trial to have anything put in my head by that guy. That guy.
I can't say that I'm if there was a significant reason and for the sake of science, I might do it. Like you said, it would have to be end of days for me, or, complete.
Yeah, that's the only way. Like, who's going to try? Dude, let me just walk you through this, okay? He promised self-driving cars. They explode.
They
explode. A lot of them explode. Everything to do other than
I was in a car that wasn't a Tesla, and it was test driving, and it was driving itself.
Yeah, well, it drives itself for a bit, but he said it was totally autonomous. That's been going on for like 1,800 days, by the way. So hasn't done that. Battery life that he says exists with it doesn't work. His robot Optimus was supposed to be on the market like 3 years ago. It doesn't work. Bought Twitter. That doesn't work.
It's a gong show.
Yeah, it's a joke. So bottom line is that we're legitimately looking at a gentleman who has a list of failures and promises a mile long, and he's allowed to put these brain implants in people's heads after killing thousands of animals. Trying to put brain
necessarily doing it.
Well, his company, and all he does is lie about what he does. He has these magical fucking projections about what he says is possible. Nothing. It's just not. And none of the things that he says he goes part of the way there to convince people to give him money, but he doesn't go all the way there. That is the last guy, his company, anything to do with him. Like, I'll never buy a Tesla. I will, even if I'm a multi-billionaire, I'm never going to go up in one of his rockets, even though they appear to work actually better than his cars. And I would never, ever, ever line up to have a Neuralink implant put in my head by him. Never
Couple
do
of things. One, Elon Musk isn't the only one doing this, and there's people in Europe that are way ahead of him. There's a couple of companies, and I don't know their names, but Elon Musk's Neuralink is getting the conversation because it's Elon Musk. Two, I'm very disappointed that Elon Musk turned out to be like he is, right?
A ketamine freak?
It's disappointing when somebody that has done, because I know there's some failures, but he has had a lot of success in his life. He is a risk taker, and when you do that, when you take risks, you're gonna make mistakes, right? But I think we need guys like, as crazy as he is, I think we need guys like him around that go, you know what? I'm gonna build a rocket that goes to Mars, because we need people. We just need that
risk takers,
mindset. Those people. It just,
totally
I wish he wasn't a dick.
I wish he was. I wish he didn't lie. I wish the things he said he did. Like Tesla isn't his, SpaceX isn't his. He's just a guy that kind of.
Steve Jobs was a little like that.
Steve Jobs.
Everyone thought he created Apple.
He did. Him and Steve Wozniak invented Apple. Dude.
Yeah, and I think Steve was a little bit smarter than
Bill?
The other Steve was a lot smarter than Bill. Was just a really good business guy, right? And he's similar.
But those business they were able to keep it together. Like Steve Wozniak, it's fucking hilarious. He owns I think he just died recently. Owned the Portland Trail Blazers because he's like, whatever, I'll take my money, buy a basketball team, and have a good time. Bought his wife a Tesla, and he was interviewed last year on Squawk Box, and they're like, "What do you make of the Teslas?" And he goes, "I don't trust Elon Musk as far as you can fucking throw him." He's like, "Why?" Because like everything he says he's going to do, he does most of it to get you to buy it, and then he doesn't do the rest. So this whole and I remember him saying this whole brain chip thing, I'm out. And I'm like, oh my God, that guy invented Apple, and he's like, I'm out.
But there were people that could not work with Steve Jobs.
No,
apparently he was a
real
asshole,
and then he
was a real dick.
And he started like a bio farm and decided to walk around, did a whole bunch of like acid, and he was like, yeah, I could probably be nicer. And thank acid for a nicer Steve Jobs and shroom.
Yeah, towards the and I think when he got sick too, he turned a leaf as well, when he got the pancreatic cancer, right? Yeah. These, again, like I said, I'm with you. I don't trust him. He's had too much chaos in his life lately. But again, those people, they get us things because they have the balls to start it. And he might not finish it, but people step in and continue. Like as much as you wouldn't buy a Tesla, and maybe there's better electric vehicles coming down the road. I think what he did was he set the table for the potential success that product could have in North America and around the world, and got other manufacturers to step into the game as well.
Oh, so dude, totally. I think Elon Musk
just
is a weirdo. Totally. I think I listen. Is he a genius? No.
I don't know.
Is he a relentless, resentful, resourceful asshole who's changed the way that we think, drive, work, and go into outer space? Fuck, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely. People had to believe in him to give him the money to be able to scale what he did with Tesla, scale what he did with SpaceX, scale what he's doing now with Neuralink. Like, people have to pay. He didn't have that money, right? So people believe in him. He's just a great sales guy, to your point. But he's just a fucking like ketamine freak. I read a report the other day.
He's into weird sex stuff too. Like I think he likes
which is cool.
Women.
Yeah, he likes Shizer. He likes Shizer parties. Yeah, he's a big fan of the Shizer parties. Gets the latex suit on. Everybody eats a whole bunch of all brand, drinks a bunch of water. 4 or 5 hours later, it's on.
That's olive oil apparently works really well too if you have a couple spoonfuls.
Yeah, and a bunch of watermelon, that works too. Anyway. So I read a report that said Tesla executives. So something happened the other day. It's a great story out of Delaware where Tesla is incorporated. His compensation package was approved for this year. It was $56.4 billion. That's what he was supposed to get paid this year. Tesla shareholders are like, fuck that guy. Do you know how much money we lost because of him? Do you know how unsafe he is? They're like, no, Tell us more. Delaware court says, tell us more. So they present all this stuff. He was accused by people in the company of having this unbelievable drug problem where he was like always fucked up when he came in, erratic, wouldn't show up, parties.
Thanks, Joe Rogan.
Like all, and it's all ketamine and pot and fucking, which pot is not a drug, by the way, coke and fucking ecstasy and all this stuff. That was the allegation in this lawsuit, which yesterday he lost. He lost.
How much is his bonus now?
Nothing. $56.5 billion.
They absorbed it.
Yeah. And then not only did he lose that lawsuit, he tweets, quote, never incorporate a company in Delaware.
Here's the thing. This is one thing I've learned. And I'm not in the business.
That guy, by the way, Ketamine Boy.
Don't piss off the shareholders.
No, Ketamine Boy, who had all of his compensation canceled the other day because he's too drugged out, is implanting brain chips in me.
Well, again, he isn't. The interesting thing about, we can sort of have a quick, internal discussion about this too, because I'm sort of at a point here in the last couple of months where I'm rethinking who I am. Not rethinking, but just sort of exploring. Right? I've had some issues. I've had some things that I've been sort of troubled by and dealing with.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that. And when you start to get introspective and start to look at who you are, there are things that, like, for instance, I look at my selfishness and my cheapness as not probably not a great characteristic, right? But I'm also not embarrassed by it. Or do I think I need to change it? Do you know what I mean? When you grow up a certain way.
I don't.
When you grow up a certain way, like you grew up a certain way, and you've had your struggles, I would not change any of that for you or for me, because it informed who I am, right? So I bet you Elon Musk is a lot like that. He probably looks at who he is
through the lens of being that kid that got his ass kicked by his dad,
and he probably
like
thinks
shit at school. Oh, dude, that is it.
Like when I was a kid, some weird shit happened to me. Like my hippie parents drugged me, like accidentally, more than a couple of times. And I would not change that at all.
Is it an accident if it happens more than a couple of times? I don't think it is.
Well, the one was, I've told you that the story, I ate a plate of brownies and slept for 2.5 days. Yeah. And when I got up and walked downstairs, my mom was like, "Oh, thank goodness you're awake." And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Because we were going to take you to the doctor."
After 2 days.
Like, why? What day is it? It's Sunday. You've been sleeping since Friday.
I think there's a whole bunch to unpack there.
You ate a bunch of rash brownies. I ate like 10 of them. I was 13. I was growing like.
Yeah, that's when CAS takes kids away. Thank God that organization didn't exist when we were kids. We would have grown up with other people, probably.
I would have grown up with. My mom threw a box of Gravol into the back of the car in the station wagon. I ate the whole bucket. I was tripping
2 more days.
Parking meters were talking.
Is that true? Your mom was so annoyed by you, she threw a pack of Gravol into the back seat of the car when you were driving somewhere?
Shut up. And I went.
Some people grow up differently. To your point, that is, if you know anything about Elon Musk's
life, if you sit down with Elon Musk,
worse than yours.
Is he going to? Yeah, he was abused.
Like, oh, dude, have you not read the stories about how his dad used to make him stand in the corner? Like with his face wall against, and do you feel bad for him? Not really. I feel bad for little Elon. I don't feel bad for this Elon. This Elon's a piece of shit. But his dad used to make him stand with his face against the wall for hours. Yeah. He got his ass kicked so bad at school, he had to go to the hospital. When he got out of the hospital, his dad's like, "Pussy."
See, aren't you worried? We're not going to have any more Elon Musks.
Could you imagine that? Coming home from the hospital after getting your ass kicked at school, and you think, I'm going to get all kinds of sympathy. I got like broken face, I got broken arm, I got punctured lung. Like he was beat up bad. Walks in the front door, his dad, who's like total apartheid emerald miner, comes down this giant staircase, looks at him, and he goes, pussy. And he just kept walking.
I know.
That might damage a guy for a bit.
Yeah. Jimmy, my co-host, he's a little person, and he was bullied quite badly in school. And one day he went home and he was all beat up.
Did his dad call him a pussy?
No, his dad called the school. I went, what the hell's going on here? My kid just got
that's what
his
a
ass
normal
handed
dad does.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
not
And
an
Jim,
Elon.
his old man gets on the phone with the principal, and the principal goes, well, Jimmy's a little mouthy. Which he is.
Got it coming. Yeah.
But I mean, come on. He came home with a like smashed lip, and he's limping, and like they beat the hell out of him. And this happened on a fairly regular basis. So Jim got in the truck, drove to the school, Jim, and I think beat the hell out of the principal in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's a real dad, right? That's what a real dad does. Same thing when I was a kid.
That was the 80s. I got the violence was the way of the game. The way of the day.
Dude, I got a strap in the 80s. Went home, told my dad. He's like, get in the car. We go back to the school, walk into the office, and he literally dummied my principal. And I was like, that was awesome. And then when I got home, he spanked me again because forget getting the strap. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Capital punishment, Jimmy. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. Walks in the office. He says, which one of you guys touched my son? The guy's like, me. It was on. My dad just dummied him right there.
Oh,
big trench coat and everything. That's a real dad. Elon Musk's dad was not a real dad. Elon Musk's dad married Elon Musk's stepsister, the daughter of Elon Musk's ex-wife. Nor do I. They've got kids together.
Oh,
Elon
wow.
Musk's stepsister is also his stepmom. Suck on
all
that.
right. That's a little Woody Allen-ish.
That's a little damaging, isn't it? Like
yeah.
That's fuck a guy up for a while.
Yeah. So, I mean, do we give him a pass?
No. Everybody gets this. Let's be nicer to Elon because his dad is fucking his stepsister.
One more quick violence father story.
I don't think I want it.
Yeah. No, you got to hear this one. You'll like this.
Right.
So we're literally leaving the hockey rink. I'm dragging my bag behind me. I'm 5, 6, maybe. My dad goes, wait here. And then goes and gets in a fist fight in the parking lot with me standing there watching with the coach of the other team. And it didn't go well for him. Right? No. Like that's one thing my dad and I have in common.
Bad fighters.
Anytime fisticuffs came around, it wasn't going to end well for old Locke.
But you get in there anyway. Yeah. Here's the dads. Yeah. Don't encourage your kids to fight. Don't fight in front of your kids. And if your kid gets beat up,
this was the 80s.
Welcome him home. Oh yeah, in the 80s.
This was the 80s. Yeah. One of my more famous fights. I was getting into it with this guy in gym class. We're playing basketball.
When you say famous, you mean most memorable for you because no one's ever heard this story?
Okay, infamous may be the better term.
All right.
So anyway, he's like, let's go. And I'm like, yeah. And I of course lead because I'm the leader here. Kick the door open to go outside, and I turn around and he's waiting for me. Bah!
You never go up first.
Pops me. I go down. My nose is bleeding. Everyone's like, ah. Boring fight. It's already over.
That was it? You didn't get
up? 2
up?
seconds. No, it was over. That's it. That's my fighting career right there in a nutshell. I used to get my ass handed to me on the rink all the time because I was mouthy.
Yeah. Oh, I know you are. Yeah. Don't try to write checks your body can't cash, dude. Old school Top Gun reference. You're welcome. Have a great day, dude. Thanks for doing this.
This is a good one. I sent you a link. We'll tease the Friday show. I want you to go look into this stuff, okay? This guy, Daniel Oates.
Uh-huh.
We had him on the radio show today.
Uh-huh.
And I sent you the link just before we got on.
DM.
He is a investigative journalist.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow him on Twitter, you can send him a note. He got back to me right away. And he did a story about UFO sighting in Canada in the prairies by pilots, multiple pilots, 4 of them.
Daniel Otis, is that his name?
Daniel Otis, yes. He works. He's a freelancer, but his stuff ends up on Vice and CTV, so quite a bit. Anyway, he did this whole story and spent like 2, 3, 4 days tracking down all this information. And on YouTube, there's a link. I can send you the link. There's a audio collection of all the audio and the communication. It was like 3 hours plus that he like got down to 13 minutes. And it's communication between air traffic control about this sighting from 4 different pilots. And they were all saying the same thing. It's forming a triangle. And anyway, it's really cool. And his article is really good. It got picked up by CTV and it's kind of gone viral over the last day or so.
Yeah, it's a great article. I actually read it today. I didn't know that was the link that you sent me. Pilots describe lights, triangles over Canada as air traffic control audio. So this is all air traffic control audio and
the YouTube
pilot audio, right?
The YouTube's footage or the audio that he put up is unbelievable.
I don't know if I want to listen or watch.
Well, you gotta
me out all the time. Like this is one of those things where people start talking about UFOs, and I'm like, man, I don't want to talk about UFOs because then people are going to think I'm a conspiracy guy, and I'm not. And also, it kind of creeps me out. Like I'm afraid we're not alone. I'm afraid we're not alone. And we're going to get probed.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go first. It's like being
just what I know about you, you'd be up around the front of the line. I mean, you might not be the first one they take, but they're going to look.
I'm going to start putting things in my anus now.
You better get prepared because I think that's part of the problem.
That we have nothing in our anuses?
No, I think your fear of it and how you don't like to be touched there.
We should interview this guy because I got wedgied once. That's why I don't like being touched there.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying they're going to be fascinated by that. The aliens are going to be, they're going to want the guys that are a little tentative about it, right? They're not going to want the guy that goes, yeah, I stick things up there all the time. Yeah, get in the back of the line.
Yeah, we're here to probe anuses. If you're cool with it, it's way too pedestrian for us. Yeah. We want people to be a little
it's like when you're picking scout leaders. You don't pick the guy that really, really wants to be a leader, right? That guy, send him home. He's going to be a problem. Get the guys that don't really want to go camping with the kids for the weekend.
No.
And your kids are going to be a little safer.
Absolutely.
So this is the same thing with you. You don't like to be touched there. They're going to go after you right away.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be like, see that guy right there? He got wedgied in the 10th grade. He hates that area of his body. We need to look into his anus. Get the tall blonde
kid, the albino kid. Get him up here.
See that guy that looks like Ellen DeGeneres' twin? We need to look in his anus. Be like, all right, beat me up. But I would, if they did, like if aliens were real and they did come down and look in my anus, I would try to relax as much as humanly possible.
Yes, I hear.
I don't want it to be a tense thing. Yeah, like I need to get on a regimen of like Robaxacet, muscle relaxants, maybe some Xanax. Just
that's why they have different size butt plugs too, right? You go small to big.
Just so when they go for gold and they start looking in the anus, I'm like nice and relaxed. It's like nice and chill. Maybe I'll get like some like a playlist, like an alien probe anus playlist of like Anya, right? Where it's like,
that's stressful. I hate that music. Just start with a finger. Just get that working. When you're that, right?
No.
Then get a ruler.
Like my fear. It's like a nightmare to me. Even just talking about this is a nightmare.
Then a banana.
So like you would have to abduct me to do that.
Yeah, you're going
down.
I would
need, for sure. Hey aliens, if you can hear me, whatever you do, just please relax me first.
All right, so we'll deal with that on Friday.
All right.
Okay. You should send him a note and see if he wants to pop in.
Yeah, he follows me. I just saw that. Dude follows me, Daniel Otis. I'm going to follow him back right now. Everybody follow Daniel Otis. He's a UFO guy, and he's doing some freelance work.
Well, he's a journalist. This is just one of the things he has written about. He said he started writing about it when all the shit ended up in the New York Times back in 2022. We had him on the show today for a quick 3-minute chat, but I bet you there's a lot more there. He's really smart.
Can you send him a note when we get off and ask him to come on the show with us on Friday? Yeah.
I will.
And I'll send him a note too. All right. Lochlin Cross.
I'll send him the link to this and say, hey, listen to the back end of this. Do you want to come on this? Yeah, that's the way to do it.
957 Cruise FM in Edmonton, Lochlin Cross. Give him a follow at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. Give him a listen. 957cruisefm.ca. He's the host of the morning show at Cruise FM.
Locker Room.
Called The Locker Room, where you can still get this shirt, I believe. Just quick, are you still selling the Stay Away From My Mom Corey Perry shirt?
Yeah. Also up is the Rock Out With Your McRib Out shirts that we just put up on Tuesday. Yes.
Very good. And I believe the Oilers are winners into the All-Star break of 16 in a row, which is fucking unbelievable. So
17 on Tuesday if they beat Vegas in the same conference, right? So that's a big one for them.
Yeah. Quite
they
the
need
run.
that win. Yeah.
Anyway, great story. Thanks, dude. We'll talk to you soon. You done? Well, he's gone now. That's it for us, everybody. Thanks so much. Appreciate you spending some time with us today. Don't forget, you can get everything we do at Crier Media. Go to crier.co for more details. You can check us out and the video version of this podcast on YouTube. If you go to Crier Media on YouTube or Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, if you'd like to find us on social media, Crier Media, anywhere you get social media, or Dean Blundell, or at It's Dean Blundell on Twitter. That's sort of the best bet to get me. And don't forget, we're still fighting the Canada Proud lawsuit. They had a terrible week last week. Everybody's starting to catch on to the fact they're not really a news outlet. They're just a Conservative Party of Canada fake news outlet. Anyway, they sued us for embarrassing them. We've got a GoFundMe, which is in the description of this podcast. You can also check it out as we're asking people to support our work, support us in this lawsuit. I think the goal for any lawsuit like this is to shut people up. That's how we feel. That's how we feel. And it's also to make a quick buck. We are not promoted or supported by corporate donors. We do not partner with any political parties or any government entities. We are not subject to grants. We are not profit like they pretend to be. We are just a group of people doing our best to tell you the truth. And so if you would like the truth and you'd like to support us in the truth, if you can go to the description of this podcast or my Twitter feed, check out the GoFundMe link in the description and share and donate. It's all we can do when we try to stop disinformation. Share and donate. Whatever happens, happens. But we'll be accountable and we'll stand there and we'll do that. It's one of the most important things to me, as a matter of fact. Its purpose is to help people understand truth and give them a tool at their disposal, a free tool at their disposal that they can ascertain sources in the truth for themselves. And that is what we are building. More information on this tool, free tool for Canadians that we are building, so you can cross-reference anything you see, hear, or read. And you can check the legitimacy of it, the epistemology of it. That is what we are creating, and we're very proud to be creating it for you. And it is a lot of work, and I love that work. And we want to give Canadians a tool where they can decipher for themselves what they think is true, what they think is false. Disinformation and misinformation are a scourge in North America, specifically in Canada right now. We know where it comes from, and it's our opportunity to dig in. So dig in with us, support our GoFundMe. We'll continue to build this. We'll continue to fight back legally, and we appreciate your help more than you know. As always, we're brought to you by our friends at Can Torque, makers of rugged, hardworking torque wrenches, the best in the world. They're out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, leading industrial tool experts for 20 years, unparalleled expertise. Everything from tool rentals, calibration services, repairs, custom fabrication, and they've got distribution opportunities. Can Torques offers a complete range of services and products. In fact, we did a podcast with them this week. You can check it out. It's like 2 podcasts ago. Colin was great. Story of resilience. He's a Canadian success story, and he believes in this country and the people in it. So if you're looking for a torque wrench, industrial torque tool, and you're looking for a bolting solution you can't find in any industry, go to cantorque.com for more information today. As always, brought to you by Muse Massage Spa, the lovely ladies at Muse on the mic, Emily and Riley. Great podcast. They own a body rub parlor, licensed, legal, safe, and they're advocates for the sex work industry, and they're also clinical sexologists. So not only are they educators, they're advocates, and they've also operate maybe the coolest place in the city. Muse Massage Spa, 1290 Finch Avenue West, Unit 13, Toronto, Ontario. Go to Muse Massage Spa for more details. But download their podcast, Muse on the Mic, today, and download their sub on Patreon, Muse on the Mic on Patreon. That's where it's totally unedited. You can do whatever you want, but I highly suggest you get these women in your lives, because not only they advocate for women in the industry, they advocate for men in the industry, they advocate for sex work and the therapeutic nature of what they do. So go to Muse Massage Spa for more details. Download their podcast called Muse on the Mic today. And as always, brought to you by Gitch, the best underwear on the planet. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. You don't miss when you wear these. And they're made for Canadians by Canadians, an exclusively Canadian brand. If you go to edsfineimports.com and order them right now, you get an extra pair for free when you order 3 or more with Gitch 3 at checkout. You'll also get an extra 15% off your entire purchase when you give them your email address. So, hey, listen, this is free and you get a discount. And the clothing store, the online clothing store for Ed, unbelievable. Some incredible brands in his own luxury branded underwear. Gitch, engineered for any level of performance as well as everyday life. Super breathable, moisture wicking, barely there fabric, made for anything, sitting around, running around, doesn't matter. Great waistband. These are the only underwear you'll ever wear. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front for your fellas. Make sure you order them today. edsfineimports.com. Gitch 3 is your promo code. That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you being here. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.